The Vatican Secret Archives, renamed the Vatican Apostolic Archives as of October 2019, houses registers, state papers, and documents of the Church, but it's also home to many mysteries, conspiracies, and theories that have developed over the years. The archives, belonging to the Catholic Church, are the property of the Pope, although from 1881, Catholic scholars over the age of 75 may be granted permission to access them. The lack of public availability, coupled with the centuries of documents, have perpetuated the speculation and mystery surrounding the Pope, the Catholic Church, and the archives themselves. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at some of the theories and secrets of the Vatican Apostolic Archives. The design of a flying machine invented by a Brazilian priest. Bartholomew de Gusmão, a Brazilian priest and inventor, made huge advancements in aviation during the early 18th century. The motivation and inspiration leading to the development of his flying machine was by watching the interaction between a soap bubble and a flame. The rising action paved the way for his flying machine design. This was named passarola, derived from the Portuguese passaro, translating to bird. The passarola looked essentially like a large inflated bird. The design suggested the use of wind and magnets in order to keep it in flight. He began studying mathematics and physics at university in 1705. It was then in 1708 when the demonstration of a prototype to the Portuguese king John V earned him the right to continue his research until he found success. When he created and trialled a successful design, he was named a professor and became a member of the Royal History Academy. He worked throughout Europe designing and working on further inventions, but upon his return to Portugal, he'd been reported to the Inquisition, a group set up within the Catholic Church to punish heresy, known and famous for the severity of their punishments. The Inquisition accused the Brazilian priest of witchcraft. In order to avoid such gruesome punishments or possibly loss of life, he burned his manuscripts and fled to Spain, where he passed away shortly afterwards in a hospital. The burning of his work meant his designs were lost, though his brother had records of his early designs, which remain preserved in the Vatican Apostolic Archives. The specific details of the burned manuscripts and his life are unknown, and the information available is relatively vague. But regarding his invention, he can be considered to have had a significant impact upon aeronautics, contributing greatly to the early understanding that we have built upon today. Details of Jesus' bloodline. Bestseller book and Hollywood hit movie The Da Vinci Code, written by Dan Brown, sparked controversies and conspiracies surrounding the Vatican. The intense fame of this work focused the attention of theorists towards the Vatican, placing the mysteries of the archives into the public spotlight of pop culture. Despite Brown's insistence that 99% of the contents are factual, the claims are heavily refuted by the Catholic Church, and with understandable motivations. Is the Catholic Church hiding the reality? Brown's work claimed that Jesus Christ had married Mary Magdalene and had had children with her, creating a traceable bloodline with the potential descendants that were still alive today. The Da Vinci Code isn't the first book of its kind, although it has seen notable fame and success. Since the Da Vinci Code created such claims surrounding Jesus and the Church, conjecture grew, and popular conspiracies now suggest that the true bloodline of Jesus Christ is concealed within the Vatican Apostolic Archives. One piece of supposed evidence for the theory that Jesus had a wife and children and subsequent descendants alive today is that there's little known about Christ between his birth and early childhood and the years before his death in his early 30s. The focus of Christ's life within the Bible is largely on his birth and work leading to his crucifixion, hence the Christmas and Easter celebrations. But then, what was Jesus doing with the other 20 years of his life? This is a question many have begun asking. For many, marrying, having children, creating a family is a probable assumption. It's certainly the one made by Dan Brown. The Bible states that Mary of Magdala was a follower and travelled with Jesus. However, Brown and other theorists believe their relationship to one another was more intimate, having been married. So what do we believe could be within the Vatican Apostolic Archives? documentation of Jesus' bloodline potentially being held within the Vatican is a relatively common theory, though the form of this documentation is also in debate. Some people believe that letters and messages sent between St. Paul and Emperor Nero contain first-person accounts surrounding Jesus' life. This includes a written record of his bloodline. Others believe individuals who had seen Jesus personally had drawn portraits of Jesus, and these are contained within the Vatican Apostolic Archives. The earliest publicly known portraits of Jesus were created approximately 200 years following his death. Why does the Catholic Church need to protect the knowledge surrounding his bloodline if it is indeed contained within the archives? The answer here is likely rather simple. Evidence of Jesus' bloodline has the potential to contradict the teachings of the Church and therefore undermine Holy Scripture. The implications of Jesus having descendants is a complicated thought. If the relatives of Christ and therefore the relatives of God were alive and accessible, then the role of the Pope would be far less significant. However, realistically, after tracing a bloodline for hundreds of generations, the vast majority of people would be related. Tracing a bloodline back only 20 generations could find up to 1 million relatives, and with the ever-increasing population, locating the closest descendant would be an ever-challenging task. If the archives truly do hold documentation of Jesus' bloodline, how updated is it? And with such a vast number of descendants, do you think the bloodline could be traced through to modern society? Do you think revealing this knowledge would conflict with the teachings of the Bible, and the Church, and Holy Scripture? The Knight of Templar Scroll. In 2012, a hugely monumental cultural and media event occurred. Lux in Arcana, or the Light on the Mysteries. From March 1st through to September 9th, the Vatican Apostolic Archives shared 100 original historical documents for the public, for the first time in history. The priceless documents were displayed in museums in Rome for the summer of 2012. One of these being the trial against the Order of Templars, written upon a scroll 60 meters in length from within the 14th century. The scroll was partially unrolled and displayed beside relevant manuscripts and letters. Templar, or the Knights Templar, were founded in the 12th century. They remained active until the 14th century. These were through the years 1119 and 1312. Initially, their purpose was to protect Christians when on a pilgrimage to the Holy Land. Throughout the 12th century, they took on further military duties. The Templar were a significant and powerful force within the Crusades. This was both physically in the battlefields and economically due to a large control they held over the vast wealth. Whilst they were essentially a military for the Catholic Church, they had strong support with the public prior to their involvement within the Crusades. The continuous growth in social and economic power gained from centuries of being considered an elite army prompted conflict between those who were politically and religiously opposed to the Knights of Templar. King Philip of France accused the Knights of Templar of blasphemy and immorality and named them heretics. The Knights of the Order were put on trial for sacrilegious crimes such as spitting on crosses and romantic attraction to the same gender, amongst other accusations. The document held within the Vatican Apostolic Archives, as revealed as part of the Lux in Arcana, is a 60-metre-long scroll. It details 231 testimonies of the knights, transcripts and minutes of the trial that lasted for years. Whilst on trial, the Knights of Templar underwent years of maltreatment. Ultimately, they were condemned and burnt at the stake for the crime of heresy. Pope Clement V then disbanded the order, an assumed factor in doing so largely being the pressure from King Philip. An interesting element surrounding the transcripts, however, is the Pope initially intended to pardon the knights, but he appeared to have been convinced and persuaded by King Philip to convict the Templar. Was this the aspect that prompted the secrecy surrounding the trials for so long? The document, whilst protected for 700 years, were only found again in 2001, having been placed alongside more mundane and less distinctive documents within the Vatican Apostolic Archive. The rediscovering of lost artifacts and revealing them to the public is truly exciting. The Lux in Arcana marks a phenomenal time within human history. The archives hides away years of human history from the judgment of the public, and the archives themselves are developing a history of myths and rumours of their own. Will the secrets and theories continue to circulate, or will the archives give us more glimpses of the world tucked away within them? We've seen only 100 of several million items. If these are the documents that have been revealed, who knows what it is the Catholic Church is unwilling to share? The potential for truly dark secrets lies within the archives. A library for the elite. And while the outlandish conspiracies continue to thrive, we're left to wonder, could it really be true? So what do you make of these secrets being held within the Vatican Apostolic Archives? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community whilst working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.